Hi, it's Miss Nielsen. So I need you. You are here because you did not get mastery on your Mesopotamia test. So we're going to review the material. Please have your study guide available. Okay, so here I got mine, so we can go along it together. So we're going to start with the first section, which was about geography of ancient Mesopotamia. I'm going to go through these review notes for you. So, where was Mesopotamia located? Mesopotamia is one of the earliest urban civilizations. It was established around 3500 BCE in the valley between the Tigris River and the Euphrates River. Mesopotamia was located where modern Iraq and eastern Syria are today. The Tigris and Euphrates rivers were two of the main rivers in Mesopotamia. Eridu, Ur, and Uruk were three of Mesopotamia's important cities. They were found along the Euphrates River. Why does it matter? The cities of Mesopotamia were some of the first cities in the world. The Euphrates and Tigris River played a large role in Mesopotamia's development. Mesopotamia was established in the Fertile Crescent Valley between the Tigris and Euphrates River. The soil, land and water. The soil of Mesopotamia was rich for crops, but the climate had and annual floods were not, Friday afternoon, not suitable for farming. Mesopotamians developed a system of irrigation to harness water from the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Irrigation provided water for crops year-round. Annual floods destroyed crops and structures. Irrigation stopped the rivers from flooding. Through irrigation, the Mesopotamians produced a surplus of food. So why does this matter? In order to become successful farmers, the Mesopotamians had to learn how to use irrigation to control the floods from the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Doing so allowed their civilization to grow and flourish. The Mesopotamians became successful farmers by creating an irrigation system to control the floods from the Tigris and Euphrates River. Regulating the flow of water enabled the growth of the Mesopotamian civilization. All right, so let's stop and pause. I know this did not say what it is, but we're going to go over the answers. Number one, where does the name Mesopotamia come from and what does it mean? So the hint to this is it's called the Fertile Crescent. Mesopotamia is the land in between the rivers. And the word is Greek, and the historians named it that. Okay, agricultural innovations. Advances in agriculture allowed Mesopotamians to become more successful farmers. Irrigation provided necessary water to make farming easier. Mesopotamians invented a cedar plow. It allowed them to plow and plant at the same time. Mesopotamians domesticated animals. The animals were used for food and farm work. A surplus of food meant that not everybody had to farm. People could do other things for work. Why does this matter? Innovating farming techniques meant more food was produced and fewer people needed to be farmers. There was enough food to feed entire cities and to trade for other goods and services. People came to the cities to trade and to do other jobs, and the civilization continued to grow. Mesopotamians learned to control the rivers with levees and gates. They invented the cedar plow to plant their crops.
I think I'll tell the story of my people from the very beginning. My grandfather knows all about it. He says the first thing we Sumerians did was get really good at farming. My ancestors used to make their living by hunting wild animals for food. They were constantly on the move following the herds. As they traveled, they would also gather wild berries, nuts, and greens to eat. But they often didn't know where their next meal would come from. It was a hard way to live. Then they discovered they could plant and harvest a kind of wheat they found growing wild. And they also found out how to tame wild goats and sheep and raise them for food. Grandfather calls that domestication. They dump a lot of really good dirt on the land. It's great for growing food in. So now we eat really well. We grow barley and wheat, lots of beans and fresh vegetables, and fruits like melons, dates, apples, figs, and grapes. Our animals give us milk, cheese, and meat, and there are always plenty of fish in the rivers. When my ancestors first started farming here, their biggest problem was never knowing when a flood might come and wash away their crops. Even if the crops survived that, they might die in the summer when it's so hot and there's not enough water. But my people didn't give up. Instead, we actually invented a way to control the river. First, we learned how to build levees. Those are big piles of earth between the fields and the river. They're too tall for the river to get over, so they prevent the floods. Then we made gated ditches around the fields, and when the crops needed water in the summer, we would just open the gates and let some river water flow in. To plant our crops, we use a great tool called a plow. It's a Sumerian invention, and we use an ox to pull the plow, another of our great ideas. Some of our smartest people invented a calendar based on the moon and stars. My grandfather says nobody had ever thought of a way to measure time like that before. It helps us know when the floods will come. In our calendar, each year has 12 months, and each month has 30 days. Each month is represented by one of the constellations in the sky. They're called the zodiac. Our priests watch the zodiac to know which month it is. That way, they know when the floods from the mountains will arrive. We Sumerians also invented writing. My grandfather says that in the old days, nobody knew how to write. Well, if you can't write, how do you keep track of how many animals you sold last month? What are you supposed to do, paint them on cave walls? No, we're much more modern here in Sumer. We figured out how to write on clay tablets. You just take a piece of reed and cut a stylus from it. That's a sort of hard, pointed tool. You press the point into some wet clay, and pretty soon you're writing. Our style of writing is called cuneiform. With writing, you can keep records of everything you do. It's great because then you don't have to remember it all. You also can make things permanent when you write them down. For example, we were the first people to write down our laws. But this is maybe the best thing we invented, the wheel. You'd think somebody back in the old days would have thought of it sooner, but we were the first. Before carts and wheels, we used to just drag things around. That was hard. But like I said, we are very modern here in Sumer.
Okay. So we can answer a bunch of questions after seeing that. So let's go. How the environment of Sumer impact the civilization living there? So the area was high and warm with very little rainfall. What was one of the major factors that made farming difficult in the area of Sumer? Sumer had an uncontrollable water supply. Why do Sumerian rivers flood in the spring, and how do the people control the flooding? Snow melted in the mountains. They built levees and reservoirs. Why were the levees built? To prevent the floods. Oops, sorry. Let's see. What invention most affected the food supply in ancient Sumer? The plow. That's number 13. I don't know if we did that or not, but scribes wrote down the laws in cuneiform. What invention made it possible for Sumerian armies to use chariots? She just mentioned the wheel. That's number 19 on your back. What evidence found by archaeologists shows that Sumerians were not prehistoric? They wrote cuneiform on clay tablets, number 21. Why was the Sumerian cuneiform important to a historian? It's a primary source to tell you about life in Mesopotamia. And I think that's about all we can get from that section of it. All right. So let's scroll down. So trade. Mesopotamia did not produce all the resources it needed. However, it did produce an abundance of crops that could be used for trade. A system of trade began in the cities. Food was traded locally for other goods. Also, Mesopotamians traded grains, oils, and textiles with outside societies for goods such as gems and wood. Merchants traveled around to trading centers via land or sea. They used boats or donkeys to transport their goods. So why does this matter? Trade meant even more growth for Mesopotamia. Trading allowed Mesopotamians to meet all of their needs and establish a level of importance with outside cultures. Trade in Mesopotamia came down to supply and need. What was produced in Mesopotamia could be traded for goods in other lands. See if there's any more that we can answer here before I'm going to actually end this video and move on to the next chapter section. So you're going to click on to the next video you see.